congrats on 10 years of Teen Titans Go. That is like just any show making it 10 years is impressive. But like all three of you have been so in animation for so long. 10 years of animation of an animated show is wild.
It is.
Really, as a series, we've been together for a lot longer than that.
Over 20 years now.
With these characters. So, and I think initially there was like a fear that Go wouldn't take off, and it really has, and it's been such a treat. We love doing Go. We have so much fun together.
Yeah.
That kind of like builds to my first big question, which was, from your perspective, what is it about Go that really fuels that passion? Like, this is such a unique show, even compared to the stuff in its own genre, compared to anything else in animation. It's such a beautiful hodgepodge of stuff. What is it from your perspectives that really makes it stand out?
Ladies first. Go ahead, T.
Well, look, I think the original Teen Titans was such a genius, brilliant show. And I think the fact that Warner Brothers kept all of us in the original roles made it easier for people to accept that it wasn't season 6 yet, which of course everyone's still waiting for, and hopefully one day we'll do.
It's coming.
In the meantime, this was a lot of fun, and I think for the fans that grew up with Titans, they got to watch it with their kids, right? And so they got them used to these characters. And now that the kids are grown, they're going back and watching OG. And they're these characters that they fell in love with that were, initially a really beloved comic book. And, I hear all the time at cons when I read a Teen Titans comic, I hear all you guys as the voices. And I really couldn't imagine any one of us being replaced. Like, of course, no voice actor wants that, but like in particular, Teen Titans, I feel like nobody else could be Beast Boy. Nobody else could be Robin, Starfire, Cyborg, of course, Raven. But it's fun for the entire family. It's irreverent. I think some of the subject matter is so outlandish and crazy and hilarious. I mean, we went from peeing in an elevator to
who does that, yeah,
to learning about pyramid schemes and all the amazing guest stars that we've had. They keep the audience guessing, they keep it fresh, they keep it funny, and all with a lot of little fun eggs for fans of the show. So I think it's just all around, honestly, a perfect show.
Yeah, I think it's intrinsic in the name Teen Titans Go, the go part. Like, we just go for it. And I think that's what's made us stand out amongst all the other thousands of TV shows that are trying to make it. We get to really push the envelope and try new things and experiment. And I think that's what people really look forward to, is seeing what's next on Teen Titans Go, because you never really know what's going to happen. And that's exciting and fun.
Yeah, to piggyback on what Tara and Greg are saying, it really seems like the sky's the limit on the show, and it always has been. Like, whatever boundaries might have been there, the writers just break through them. Us voice actors, we all have a chemistry together, and we'll try stuff and throw it out there. And the answer is usually yes. From, like any idea we throw out there, it's always welcomed, and they don't always work, but oftentimes they're like, yeah, let's put that in the show. So
and they take our ideas and make them even more wild and more crazy. It's like, it's pretty exciting.
It's so exciting, especially in animation, to have that kind of level of collaboration it's not necessarily the most common thing. You're right. That is such a really neat little aspect.
Oh yeah, and I want to give our props to our animators, because you watch some shows, and if you listen to, I'm not going to list any shows, but just over the time of animation, you'll sometimes hear a voice acting performance where somebody's just crushing it on the line, but the animation kind of falls flat. And on our show, I feel like our animators are so in tune with whatever we're delivering that they like, I'll sometimes watch it and I'm like, oh, how cool that they put that little hand gesture in for when I read that line or whatever. It's a lot of fun to see the finished product.
Yeah, Beast Boys is naked a lot. And it's because
why do they do that?
Actually, everybody in the cast, that's who you would expect that from. That's the one that makes sense.
Recorded pretty close to naked many times, so
I was just gonna say, Tara, do you remember that time we were all recording an episode, probably around like season 4, and we all look over, and all of a sudden Greg is in a Speedo bathing suit in the room with us. He took off all his clothes. He's like, I got hot, yo. It's hot in here.
Yeah, and it's a patriotic gesture because they were American flag Speedo. So
that's what it was. Okay, got it.
That's the most American thing Beast Boys ever done, and that's a lot. There's a lot to that list.
Freedom, baby, freedom.
Sure.
I love that touched on like three different things I really want to talk to you all about. I'm going to jump to the first of them, though, is kind of speaking to what Scott and Dora and Greg, you brought up, is this show can do so much, and I love the weirdo lessons. I know I brought it up before, but like the trade school episode from at one point, where it's just them someone being like, yeah, don't go to college, go get a craft. Like, it's like no other show is going to touch on those kind of things. Yeah. From your experiences, what would be what is the thing that looking back, you're like, I can't believe we did that?
So many things.
For me, there's just this kind of a generic answer, but there's little things that I'm like, I can't believe that made it to air. Little jokes or like innuendos or things like that go in, and it's like, whoa, they did that. That's cool. That got on. That kind of thing. But also what I think is, our show is the first to poke fun at itself. And early on, there was some reviewer gave a critique about our show saying, this was like early on in the run of the seasons, saying this show doesn't teach anything to anybody. So our showrunners at the time, Michael Jelinek and Aaron Horvath, were like, all right, well, let's make a show where we teach them about real estate investing. And but somehow they make it interesting. Somehow the writers make it interesting where it holds your attention.
The educational episodes are some of my favorite. Like when I got to punch President Nixon in the face for taking us off the gold standard. I thought that was it's an amazing thing to teach the youth, because otherwise, how would they learn that, we were taken off the gold standard by President Nixon? And, we were very much responsible for making a whole bunch of rascals in this world.
It's just such yeah, you're right. I forgot about Nixon getting just decked in the face.
Yeah, I think Robin fought George Washington too, right? The father.
Yeah, George Washington was like a whole thing where like he tried to take over the team. Like, I think that was one of the episodes where I sat watching it a couple of years ago and just was like, oh, okay, this is all right. Let's go. This show has no limits. All right.
I really loved when they animated us doing our own voices too. The 200th episode was so much fun, and they really based it pretty much in reality, like Greg and I taking selfies and kind of messing around during the recording, and Scotty being the best behaved, and the writers and how they were all doing. I think it was like one of the first times that we've seen the actors animated talking to their animated selves on a TV show, and I've seen some since, but I think TT Go was the first, and it was pretty damn entertaining.
Yeah, everybody's trying to copy us. Everybody just tries to copy us all the time.
I love all of that. Like, I love DC superhero girls as well, just in general. But I love whenever they cross over with you guys. The joke is always they're just trying to piggyback off us, just constantly making that gag.
Totally.
It's true, though. It's true.
It is true.
Dora, you also brought up some of the guest stars because this show has had over the last 10 years a collection of guest stars, like just a lot of different kinds of creatives and celebrities and stars and musicians on the show.
Yeah, I mean, we had when we had Fallout Boy on, that was amazing. But the truth is, these celebrities and rock stars come to us all the time. They love the show. They want to be on the show. Most of the celebrities that want to be on the show don't even get a chance to be on the show. Like, they're fans of the show, and always have been.
Tara, I mean, how do you want to say like how Fallout Boy got on the show?
Oh, well, I was on a plane going to a con, and Pete Wentz was sitting behind me, and I heard him talking about Teen Titans randomly. And I turned around and I'm like, are you talking about Teen Titans? He's like, yeah. And I'm like, I'm Raven. He's like, and he freaks out when he knows who I am. And then he invited me, and I can't remember who I was with, but to go see, they were on their way to the Jingle All the Way Christmas concert with like huge musical performers, and I was backstage with Fall Out Boy, and they're the sweetest group of guys ever, and they're all big fans of Teen Titans. And then they're like, talking about how cool it would be on the show, and then of course we introduced them to Pete, and he's like, let's make that happen. And it's really cool.
It's cool.
They want to be on the show. They love it. Especially people that have their own kids too, that like, you could be a huge rock star and your kid doesn't give a crap, but if you're on Teen Titans Go, now you're cool.
Yeah, like LeBron James, me and him were playing a little game of one-on-one, and I beat him, and that was like that was the thing. It's like, if I beat him, he comes on the show, and if he wins, then he's not going to come on. So I beat him, and he came on the show. It's pretty rad.
I like to be in your brain.
Just the idea too now of LeBron, like, I have to lose this game to Greg to be on the show. Oops.
Oh, is that what happened?
Well, we need to get clearly we need to get LeBron on the line.
Yeah, let's find out the true story.
I don't know, man. Beast Boy can dunk. Watch out.
That's right, yo. We also got to give credit to Sam Register.
Yeah.
From the very beginning, he put this team together 20-something years ago, and it's still going strong. We're still making magic. So I think a lot of credit due to Sam, brother Sam Register.
Speaking to that, and like just the fact that you guys really have as kind of just both of you and Tara and everybody's been saying, you guys have been together with these characters for so long. Like, you literally have not just seen one. Like, I grew up with the first show. That was a big thing. That was a show that me and my dad got into because Teen Titans was one of the very few superhero properties that he really liked. So when that show was coming out, the first series, he was like, "Oh, we have to watch this." And like, I'm gonna be a dad later this year, and I'm very excited to be like, "Oh, let's show him go. Let's get into the Titans." What has it been like for you three to kind of see not only to grow with these characters, but to see the audience literally grow up with these characters?
It's so cool. I mean, I live in Venice Beach on the Venice Beach Boardwalk, and it's become now Comic-Con on the beach for me. Our show is so popular that all day long, people are like, Beast Boy lives there, Beast Boy, and they're calling out my name. So it's like, no, I live at Comic-Con Beach. It's pretty wild.
We are all very, very close, and we've had a lot of life together. When we first started the show, I don't know that any of us were married, but we've all, a bunch of us married. Well, not Greg, but married, kids, horses, or loss and wins, and we're there for each other. We really love each other as a family, so we've grown along with these characters. Although one could argue that in Go we've regressed a little bit, but that's okay. Yeah. But meeting the fans at cons that they're dressed like our characters and they have their babies dressed as our characters. I think the funniest cosplay we saw was when they did the Go older version of us. That was so funny. But you know what? It just brings so much joy to people, and that's what it's all about. And Go in particular, like, it really brings people together in a really feel-good, fun way. And we hear that all the time when we go to cons. Thank you for my childhood. And now thank you for me being able to share that with my children. And it's like a really beautiful way to give back. I mean, that's why we go to cons. Of course, you get paid, and that's nice. But the more important factor, before us, our predecessors probably had no idea how beloved they were. There was no internet. They didn't know how to look. You couldn't look up who was your favorite voice actor. And now we have lines of people saying, Teen Titans was the only time my family all sat together, or Teen Titans Go got me through a depression, or whatever it was. You guys made such an impact on my childhood. I thought I was the only one like me until I saw Raven. And it's really special. It's a wonderful way to give back to the community. And we're very grateful for every fan that gives us love online or in person. Without the fans, we're nothing. So it's pretty great.
And without our team, Scotty mentioned the animators. It's such a big group of people that makes this show become what it is, from people like Peter Michael and just all the different animators. They're so talented. They bring so much love to the table, and that resonates in the show, and people of all ages are like addicted to our show because there's so much love put into it, and they feel it and they want it and they crave it.
I also want to say one thing that Tara said about how our show makes people feel good. I had a fan tell me one time that she had been struggling with depression and serious thoughts of suicide, and discovered Go, and it gave her a reason to get through her day and look forward to coming home to like watch recorded episodes of it. And it brought her joy and showed her that like life can be fun and things can be fun. And that's when you hear something like that, because sometimes I don't do a lot of cons and stuff. I tend to forget that people even see this. And then you hear something like that and it's like, wow, this show is like making somebody feel good. It's such an amazing thing to hear.
10 years of it, baby.
Yeah.
They want you, Scotty. You should come.
Yeah. And here's hoping for 10, 50, 20 more. When 10, 50, 20, I decided to bottom myself down on that for some reason.
Well, it's really been 20 years of serving the people this goodness.
Speaking of the future, I've got to ask. We've gotten almost 365 episodes. We've got the 2 films. We've got the crossovers with DC Superhero Girls. Is there any inklings for another film?
I hope so. I mean, the first
Yeah.
movie was so good. I've watched it several times and I laugh every single time. I think it's such a great movie. I think the fans want it. There's no one saying, "Oh, we're tired of Teen Titans" or "Teen Titans Go." Like this franchise could really go on until we die, and then we'll record from that great studio in the sky. I think it would be smart to do another feature, and maybe they'll do season 6 as a feature. I don't know. That'd be fun too. I don't see why we can't do both because there's an audience for both, and it's the same beloved characters. But we're approaching 400 episodes for Go, or we did 400 episodes for Go, and amazing guest stars, De La Soul, and all kinds of fun stuff. And I think that I don't see why not. I don't see why not. And with the success of animated features, I think we haven't had official word, but we are all in if they want to.
Yeah, doing the blast. So we had so much fun doing the Teen Titans Go to the movies.
I came out of a screening for that film just being like, I can't believe it was a superhero musical. This was the greatest thing I'd seen that year.
I know. The songs were so good in that movie. Raven rapping and us, killing Kenny G. I mean, it was like, or not Kenny G.
It's still my wife and I will still quote just whenever we're in the car on a long trip, we'll still pretend we accidentally hit the polar bear. I think it's time to come.
That was so funny. I'm sorry. That was so funny.
Speaking of the songs, I do all because the show is also so richly musical. Like there's so we still my wife and I still quote the burrito and hamburger song whenever we're trying to figure out food to do. Like there's so Night Begins to Shine is such blew up, and it's said just the musical parts of the show are themselves iconic. What song from the series has gotten stuck in your heads the most?
Well, at cons we sing them. Greg and I love to. Well, Greg will command a room of 3,000 people to sing Waffles, which is challenging lyrically. I understand, but we get the songs in our head all the time. I don't know. They're fun. They're catchy.
Yeah. I still think so many good songs on the series, but I think my favorite song is our rap from the movie. For
sure.
It's not so goofy. Oh, I'm sorry, I cut you off, bro.
Waffles.
Yeah, waffles.
Music is such an important part of the show, and it's there's so many great songs. I can't even name them all because there's been so many in every episode now. But my favorites have been the ones that are so easy to sing and they get stuck in your head like
what
Waffles.
About the Raven song.
I was about to say the song that Beast Boy wrote to Raven.
I hope that's your favorite.
It's all about my baby, yeah, it's all about Ray. And if I don't scout my baby, all I do is go cray, cray, cray. And yeah. It's just so cool to see again the creatives behind the show bring stuff to life, whether it's the musical components or any of it. But the music really resonates, and I think that's what also makes our show so special. Is we got some really special, really catchy music.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so effective. I do apologize for the plane going overhead. It should stop in. I have no idea when. There we go. The magic of editing can take care of that. I do also know I'm going to run low on time, but I did want to slip at least one more big question for all three of you, and that is one of my absolute favorite aspects of Go in particular. Is these characters are so childish. They've got that perfect teenager feeling of they will always have each other's backs, but they will turn on one another in a heartbeat. And that to me is the greatest summation of being a teenager.
Yeah.
I would never turn my back on them, yell.
Why is that? That is something I feel is so intrinsic to these versions of these characters. And why is that that kind of looseness lends itself to the show's flexibility, the show's ability to do anything, because it's got that childish, all right, let's do it, let's go, we're going to learn about tactics today. Why is that element so important to the show, and what is it like to kind of bring that element to these characters for a decade?
Scotty, you should take this because you really rule the roost. Scotty, just so you know, the hardest working Titan is always Scott Menville. We'll be messing around doing our thing, but if they need to follow, if we all need to do a line exactly together, Scotty will lead it because he's the one that's ready to go and best behaved.
I do get yelled at sometimes too when you guys are looking at something on your phone. And I'm like, oh, let me see. Scott, you're supposed to be the good one. Get on. I'm like, what? Anyway, I think because it's so obvious that these 5 Titans love each other so much, like family, that it's funny to see them gang up on one another, or, it's just kind of cool. It's like, I guess I remember as a kid, when I saw kids fighting at school, it wasn't cool. But if it was two brothers, it was like, oh, well, whatever, they're brothers. Like, let them smack each other in the face. I think it's like that with the Titans. That they love each other. So no matter what's going on, however they're pummeling each other verbally or physically, like, they love each other. They're gonna resolve it and keep going.
Tara, Greg, Scott, thank you so much for taking the time. I love getting to speak with you guys at any point for anything, but especially for Teen Titans Go. Honestly, congrats on 10 years. I am so excited for 10 more, 50 more, like I said.
That's what's
have a good rest of your days, a good rest of how many more of these you're going to get through. And I'm so excited for the next time I get to talk to you guys.
Thanks,
Thank you
Brandon.
so much.
And
Thank you,
thank you to the
Brandon.
fans for loving us for all this time.
Yeah.
We love you right back.